not even a couple of days before the check engine light comes back on. Oh boy. But anyways, I do have the code reader out. And it says it's a P0170, which is a fuel trim malfunction bank A, I think. And that kind of checks out because I've been getting disappointing gas mileage with this thing as of late. So yeah. I do have a present theory on as to why, though. Because this thing was running like crap for so long, I wonder if the O2 sensors are fouled up and not getting any of the proper measurements. And so the engine computer doesn't know what to do with it, but rather than run lean and blow a hole through a piston or something, it's going way rich. I'm still getting running issues. The engine keeps stalling and, yeah, mostly just coming to a stop. It cuts out for some reason. One of the things that was suggested to me to do was to replace the fuel filter. So I've bought one. And also for replacing that, I was advised online to relieve the fuel pressure, which I figured would be a good idea. And the way suggested to me was to remove a fuel pump fuse or relay and run it until it stalls. And I guess for anybody else who finds themselves stuck doing this, this is where the passenger compartment fuse box is located, and you want that top one there, which is a 15 amp. Where'd this thing go? Yeah, 15 amp comes out of there. So yeah, that's the one I pulled out. I'm going to run it until it stops, so hopefully I don't have fuel spraying in my face. You know? Oh boy, I'm sure happy about the weather right now. It's winding and trying to either hail or rain, whatever it is. I'm getting annoyed with the wind in particular. But anyway, so here's where the fuel filter is located. It lives right behind the washer tank, at least on this one right there. I'm supposed to take those clamps off and then take the hoses off. And I do have a cloth to pick up any gasoline that spills. Hopefully there's the minimal amount. Alright, it's been replaced. Boy, was that an adventure. Because, and I did have help. I had to get help again because those hoses, the old hoses, were not going to come off easily. So we had to get some new hose and replace the hose as well, which was also an adventure. Obviously, this part was easy because, it's just out there, not that difficult. The real fun part was doing the other side, because there's a hard line that comes up from there, and you have to get the hose onto that. And that was a pain in the rear to do, because it's just down there deep enough that you can't get your hands on it properly. So that was a fun 25 minutes of work. But that's on there, and the fuel system does not seem to be leaking. So I'm going to assume that that much is done correctly, and thanks to the folks who come out to help me. I did go on a test drive with this after replacing the fuel filter, and as far as I can tell, nothing's on fire, but annoyingly enough, that did not solve the issues of it spluttering and trying to die and other issues, so yep, still searching for something to fix the whole issue. And I find myself at a bit of a crossroads. It has been suggested to solve some of the running issues with my car that it might be the injectors are clogged, quite possibly, and one of the things suggested to fix that was a can of Seafoam. But I've seen some people say that Seafoam is the automotive equivalent of snake oil, and others swear by it. So, not sure if it'd be stupid or smart to put a little or a whole lot in the gas tank. I also have this bottle of specifically injector cleaner, also sold under the Seafoam brand. And I'm not sure if I should use that, or the Seafoam, or both in concert with each other. I just don't know. And by my understanding, this would be the optimal time to use it, because I'm down to a quarter tank, so it'll be at its greatest concentration to actually do something in the gas tank. I've made my decision. I'm going to put some of this stuff in it. Alright. I'll probably just stick it right through that, but oh well. Finally got fed up with working on this thing enough. I just went back to the mechanic because I know he does a good job and he's probably better at diagnosing than I am. And he's got a fancier scan tool. And from our investigations, if the camera will ever see anywhere down there, the front O2 sensor, what Subaru calls the air-fuel ratio sensor, has gone bad. It's reading lean when it shouldn't, and that's been the source of my problems, because when I step on the gas, instead of enrichening, instead of going rich, it instead goes way lean when it shouldn't, and that's why I'm stalling when coming to a stop or trying to pull away from a stop sign. So that explains that much. Well, glad that mystery's finally been solved. And since I figured I'd give him my good business because he's a good businessman and an honest mechanic, I was quoted $300 for parts and labor, as well as to check the catalytic converter while he's got it in pieces. So, yeah, I think I'll just do that instead of getting frustrated at this thing and fantasizing about buying something like an air-cooled Beetle.
And what's the code that it's throwing?
Oh, hang on. Keep it quiet now. It's acting funny. I am not moving my foot at all. It was just not running for a full second. Yeah. Yeah, it does that. The last I checked, the code was fuel trim malfunction, bank 1. Replaced it plug-wise, and it stalled. I guess we're gonna wait for them to go by. Yeah, it's not wanting to go. There. To get a foot in that way. Because applying online just doesn't work either. I'll have to remember to save that particular clip. Cool.